Okay, so today we're going to play around with some inks and see what they will do. And I've got a little palette, I've got some pigment inks, I've got some clean water, a spray bottle, little spray bottle, and a brush. A brush you use with inks is the same that you would use with watercolour. It's a soft hair brush, and I like to keep mine, when it's not being used, carefully moulded into a shape like that. So you can get a very fine line, we can get a much thicker line, and I'll show you that shortly. But first of all, let's get some ink out. So I'm going to start just with the three primary colours today, red, yellow and blue, and we'll do a little bit of colour mixing to show you what will happen. So start by giving your inks a shake, because sometimes a bit of pigment settles in the bottom. A few drops in each one. Ink goes a long way, and when it's pure colour like this, it's quite intense, or you can thin it down with water and get lighter and lighter and lighter, and we'll do a little bit of that as well. Okay, and often the different coloured pigments will behave slightly differently on your sheet of paper, just depending on, because they use different ingredients to make the different colours, and that can affect how it flows sometimes. Not greatly, just a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to move that to one side a little bit, and I'm going to start by making sure I've got a piece of paper towel, because I like to keep my brush well and truly washed and also dry it off every so often. I'm going to start just with some patches of water on the page. It's a bit hard to see, but I know it's there. And then I'm just going to get rid of the excess water, pick up a bit of red, I'm just going to drop it in. And you can see how dropping it there, the ink is just flowing, wants to move out, wants to blend. Can drop a little bit more in. It will move of its own volition. I'm just going to rinse my brush. I'm going to drop a little bit of blue into that, so you can see what happens when the two colours meet. Pick up some blue. That one's not meeting very much. Drop into the centre of that. We've still got nothing happening here. It's a bit warm today, and my water has started to dry. But what I'm going to do now is just spray them a little bit. And my spray is not working. There it goes. I've added some water to, you can see how that just takes off. Once again, rinse your brush, dry it on your paper towel. Pick up a bit more, just let it, you can move it around and watch things happen. Okay, so that's just the blue and the red, and you can see what's happening here. When the blue and the red mix, you're getting a purpley colour. So now I'm going to take a bit of yellow and drop it into this section of blue, and you can see when the yellow hits the blue, you're getting the green colours. Alright, so a bit more yellow. I'm going to drop it up here. Actually, I'll do it here where I've got no blue, and you can see what's happening there. When I drop the yellow into the red, I'm getting oranges. So that's basic 101 of colour mixing. Put a bit more over here. You can see where all of them are starting to mix in here. If I don't touch that, it will dry, allowing me to see those different colours. But if I mix it, I'm going to get some muddy brown. And that may be what you want, but it may not be what you want either. So to get rid of that, wash your brush, dry it off, and then just use your dried brush to pick up the excess water. Pick it up again, pick it up again, and you can see the clear colours that I've left underneath. We're going to add a little bit more to this ink experiment now that it's dry. That one's completely dry, and you can see how the water has pushed the colour out to the edge there where I've dropped some clear water into it previously. But we've got the three colours. We've got the yellow here, we've got the blue here, and you can see where the red, in this case it's combined with the yellow, and in this case it's combined with the blue to make purple tone. So with the three primary colours, you've got everything you need to make every colour. And when you get the three mixing together, that's when you get this sort of light brown, dark brown sort of look. So I'm just going to add a little bit more water. I'm going to go over the top. Now that it's dry, it won't run at all. I'm going to pick up, make sure I've got plenty of water there this time, and then dry off my brush a bit, and this time I'm going to add a bit more blue. And as I drop it, you can see it's creating those star-like formations again, and this time I just want to get a bit of spray happening on some of the other bits. You do that when you've got nothing important sitting beside you. Okay, now let's get a little bit more of the purpley colours by adding some red. You can see I've got a deep sort of movement of purple happening there. And once again I want to flick a little bit of that. Now if you want it to move even more, all you have to do is give it a bit of a spray. Put some water on with that slightly. You can see the effects of that spray water, even though I've only sprayed it once, and it's coming. I can't get it to work. There it is. And it will split it and push it. Then if I get too much water, I take my brush, dry it off completely, and I can pick some of the excess water and excess ink up with my dry brush. I've got some lovely colours mixing there. Now you'll get more of this dried effect as this piece starts to dry. But we'll speed it up and we'll add some more areas, and this time we might go back to our yellow, and this is just painting intuitively. See how that one spreads, plopping on your colour, not being too concerned about where you put it. Letting it do its thing, helping it along with a bit of sprayed water every so often. And then even taking the other end of your brush and just creating some lines that loop through it. I don't quite like that. That looks good. Okay, and we'll take a little bit of blue now, and I just want to lighten it off. Before I put the blue on, I'm going to make it quite pale. My water's a bit dirty, but there we go. This time the blue is quite light. And I want to maintain some of those white areas in the centre, and my blue is gradually becoming more purple as I blend it around. This one's going to bleed into it. So there's no right or wrong way. I've got a bit too much water over there. Dry your brush off, pick it up. So it's the accidents that occur when you're using ink that make it really interesting. And you can see how these lines that I've drawn with the other end of the pen have actually cut the surface of the paper a little bit and create that really delicate line. Now just before we finish, I've got one that I was working on a little bit earlier that I just want to show you. This one needs to dry now before I do anything else with it. And at that point I'll decide what else I want to do. Now I'm just going to move this one to one side and show you this one that I was working on a little bit earlier. Now this one I've restricted the colour choice, and I've used mainly blue and yellow, a little bit of turquoise, and you can see the rock salt sitting on the edge here. Now that's started to dry, and as I move the rock salt away, you can see the effect, how it draws the colour. That bit there's still a little bit wet. I'll just move that to one side, do a bit of blotting. And you think, okay, well what's that a picture of? It's a picture of nothing at the moment. But if you take your composition frame and place it in an area, you'll find something that appeals to you. That one looks really interesting. That one less so, and even tiny ones. That looks more interesting. This piece. And you can see you create a whole new feeling for the work. That one upside down would look interesting. Okay, and even got a longer one there. So that's what framing can do for you. So as a whole, it doesn't look that challenging. You think, oh, what have I done? But when you isolate little sections, you can, oh, that one there, this one here would work really well. Just as separating it out and then mounting it up. We're just going to find some compositions in this that we find interesting. And I would look at this one to start with. Lots of beautiful purples and greens in there. A little bit of texture on this edge. I'd also maybe move it to here. This one creates a little bit more of a landscapey feel with the browny colours, the lines crisscrossing it. Even this one here, that's basically one colour but with this tiny bit of blue shooting through it, is interesting. And then we have this one up here where you've got that beautiful furry edge. And as you move it over, you will find a section that you like, and that's the section that you will later mount up, and I'll show you that in another video.